Okay, Suzanne, here we go again. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So where were we?
You're talking about this idea that people need to learn to make their own decisions, to recognize their own. Like when you use the example of the stoplights, and that people will independently govern themselves according to what they see in the situation where they're at.
Yeah, what you're talking about is we were talking about the streetlights. Why they're not necessary at night, and yet it's the law, you have to obey them. And I'm looking at the traffic problem, the whole thing's a problem. And one of the biggest problems are the lights. You take the lights away, like the traffic would move much more freely, and we'd stop the congestion. There's other things that you could do as well to stop the congestion, like making hitchhiking legal so that people can freely pick up other people and take them instead of everybody needing a vehicle. We have to reduce the amount of vehicles on the road, and there's other things about that too. Was what are people doing? What are they? Where are they going? Is there?
You talk about suspending property ownership or something.
As well, yeah. Like God, the earth belongs to who created it, and so who created the earth owns the earth, and people who claim possession of it, territorial imperatives, are false claims. It's one earth, and ownership is a problem, and it's a prison. Like we become prison with what we think to own. So if we're going to bring heaven to earth, let's understand the nature of heaven. What
But
it would be like.
you say that and you're part of it. Like, I mean, even if you're renting, but you also are an owner.
Yeah, I'm struggling. That's why I understand that
you're entrapped the same as everybody, but you sound as if you're not.
No, I am, but I'm saying there's a way through this, and one of the things that's happening now is this election, and I'm saying for people to run as independents in this election, and so when you make your ballot up, put independent on it instead of spoiling your ballot, and the majority will be the independents, the people who didn't vote for that government, and so we can change the government by unifying church and state.
These all sound like slogans, Mr. Shapeed.
What's that?
They all sound like slogans. Unifying church
yeah.
and state.
Yeah,
What
in a
about
way
people who have
they
no
should
church?
be.
What
They
about
should
people who don't have a church?
Well, they can go to the schools. Like first you take the churches, because the churches are God's houses, and they got kitchens in them. They're big. They're mansions, and there's 37 million of them in the world. And so the churches could be the gathering places for the communities to come together. And you have live stream video. You can broadcast around the world whatever's happening in the churches in your locale.
But
it's a new form of government.
You're envisioning this whole system collapsing and everybody needing to become communal in order to survive.
It is collapsing. It is collapsing. We're devouring, like many, I don't forget how many species per day are going extinct, but it's the numbers enormous.
But you're talking about what you see having to have happen amongst people in order to get through this.
The best way through it. The best thing that they can do.
So you're talking about like open the churches means everybody come together and learn how to have communal meals and
circle government in the churches. They sit around in a circle and pass the feather, and everybody has a say, young, old, like aware, unaware, and you'd see the problems. People would tell you what their situations are, and as a community you work it out in the churches. And everybody is doing this throughout the churches in the whole world, and we settle the whole world's problem. We can't settle each individual issue as long as we're at war with one another. We have to end the war. We have to bring, and forgiveness is a reality. We need forgiveness for what we've done.
So what do you think about when they're talking about forcing people into, right now in the election, they're talking about, and they're agreeing, I guess, except for Sonia Furstenau, but to force people into involuntary.
They haven't got enough jails to do that. They can't.
Well, they're talking about treatment.
They're talking
about forced treatment.
Yeah, but they can't. They haven't got the treatment. It costs like $10,000 a month or more per person to do treatment, and they just don't have, they can't do that. They haven't got the funds to do that. But there's a solution to that as well.
Okay, so
But not in their system, not the way they're doing it. You can't. You're going to force people into not using drugs anymore, but you haven't got the facilities to do that. You haven't got the people power or the economics to do that. But there's a way to do it, and we got to look at how is it we can do it. Like the way it's happening, it isn't happening.
so what's the way to do it?
The way to do it is everybody together on it. Like that's what I say, bring the community together on it. You got a problem in your community, let the community work it out, and so we resolve then the problems. And people don't have to lock their doors. We don't need a whole bunch of what's being done to us. Like when we don't no longer have to pay rent, then life will be blissfully experienced. But under the system of control economically, we're enslaved, and we're forced into private ownership, and that becomes a fortress and a prison. And people are lonely, and they're socially they're not adept anymore. They don't know how to get along anymore, and it's all problematic, the whole thing. So the solution is get rid of the government, realize a new government, a whole brand new concept for government, and it's the whole world, because it's all the churches that are opening up, and so it's a spiritual message, and it's a political. It's all and it's smart. It's a very smart answer to the problem. But it's an answer, and it resolves the whole situation, and quit dealing with it as a partial, isolated reality. It's a totality, and so that's why we have to God's Day. We're talking about a spiritual awakening, and people doing what they intuitively know they should be doing, and want to do, and then they're finding ways to do it. Independent government.
Thank you, David. We're going to wrap it there.
I hope it makes sense. But if there's an authority there on another way of realizing the divine way, well then let's talk about it, because we're in a miraculous reality. The world is an incredible space. We live in a water world, and it's green, it's beautiful, but the way we're living on it is destroying it. We have to change.
Okay.
It has to change.
Thank you, David.